shouldn't always try to look so good. 50 years can be gone in a blink of an eye. People never who you think they are, like you've never seen before. How the hell are you supposed to know? Just another friend drinking and doing blow. Paperbacks where they hit that dough, like you've never seen before.
Hey, back in here on the podcast. I've got Jay in here today. Jay's back from his little eye deal that we were talking about, and we're ready to finally tackle this Utopia stuff here. We're burning down on the release of the record here, and so we're working our way here. So today we're going to go work our way through the Utopia records only. These are going to be the songs that are on the Utopia records. Some of them may be Todd songs, some of them may be other songs, but they're Utopia songs. And man, what did you think about just in general with this, Jay? What's your thoughts here about this?
Revisiting the Utopia albums made me. It was amazing how many they released right after the other towards the end. Because you'll see my list skis towards the beginning too. But it was like revisiting music was interesting. And what amazed me the most was how many albums they released that year after year after year towards the end of their career before they flamed up.
And they didn't stop. Didn't seem to stop.
They were actually like, in a way, they were, at least two, maybe three different bands, it seemed, from the beginning to the end. But
you going first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first on this one. My number 10 is from 1985 was Point of Vision. I remember I was down in Tennessee, and I can remember like Utopia albums used to be a big deal, and then they just started showing up in the record store, and I hadn't heard anything about them. This was one of them. I remember when it came out, I hated the cover. It was just something weird about it. And it was just sort of too clean, the sounding. But that's my number 10. And I like The Secret Society was the song I remembered that. That was the one that stuck with me. And, I can remember playing. But my number 10 is Point of Vision. And I remember when I went through these, especially the latter albums, I figured if I could remember one song from them, that's the one I liked the most. And when I went back and listened to my son, but Secret Society, I really liked that.
That's the one they still played. They just played the concert we saw there. You hear all the different POVs: Price of Victory, Point of View, Persistence of Vision, Pillar of Virtue. Anyway, POV. Okay, well, my number 10 is going to be the record that kind of fell in between. The record that was in between the long period of time. That had the demos and everything. I'm talking about Swing to the Right. It's not that I don't like this record. I like this record, but there are some songs on here, like Shinola, I think, and maybe Fahrenheit 451 is okay. For the Love of Money, I'm not crazy about. I mean, Lysistrata, of course, played for a while. I like the Up. They never played the Up. I love Million Monkeys, but Million Monkeys never saw anything. But like Jay and I were discussing earlier before, it has the one big song on it, which is One World, which is going to be on any greatest hits thing of Utopia, as well as the title track, Swing to the Right. So that's my number 10. A good record, but not a great record. Swing to the Right from 1982.
Okay, next up for me, number 9. Sort of going in order. This one came out in 1984, and it was Oblivion. And it's another one that I remember just showing up in the record store. In 1980, it came out, 1985. But,
it was 83.
83. Oh, wow. I probably bought it in 84. But it was Oblivion.
84, you're right.
And the one thing I think about it is the sound. I went back and listened to it. It's just too 80s to me. It's... there's synth drums I think they started using. But get that, I really love Cry Baby. I think that was the single they released from it. Yeah. And that has a neat video. And Bring Me My Longbow, just because how weird it was. And it was one of those longer, it was almost a Utopia, song that didn't fit any format or structure. But so for those two alone, they're worth checking out.
That's your number 9. My number 9, I'm going to switch with you with your number 10, and I'm going to POV itself. I think we discussed before this, Todd's, when Todd was out producing, they were working on the record. Todd was out in the West Coast playing with creating the masterpiece Love Bomb, came back and he said, well, I played guitar lead on a lot of these because I want to sound more like Utopia than Thompson Twins. He felt like it had gone too far that way. There are some interesting songs on this because I like More Light a lot. Mated was, of course, a ballad that they played. But like you said, Secret Society is probably the one that's had the longest life cycle for it. They've played it through a long period of time, and it's come to represent kind of a catchword between the fans and Todd and the secret relationship. The other thing interesting about this is this is the only record in their bunch that was produced by Todd Rundgren and Willie Wilcox, co-produced by Chasm Sultan and Roger Powell. Read the biographies if you want about all the old problems that they had during that period of time. But if you read the biographies, the Billy James book, they go into great detail about the conflict that started there, and unfortunately, wasn't resolved until the fabulous reunion that we saw before. But Willie's certainly the missing link. That's my number 9, 1985's the last regular record they made, POV.
Yeah, even though they were called Utopia, they should have known they were still Todd's band.
That's right.
My number 8. It was just called Utopia. I think the second one.
Network, as they thought they called it.
It had this Utopia. I think it came out in '82.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hammer in My Heart. Yeah.
Hammer in My Heart. That's one. I remember from it like that. But I also like Feet Don't Fail Me Now. And I found out something. Just researching for this list was, I guess, Doug Howard helped write that song, and actually they credited it to him on the album. But
yes,
I like Feet Still Fail Me Now and Hammer in My Heart.
Well, number 8. Here's what you might not know that was hidden very, very well. In 1982, right before this record was, Chasm Sultan turned in his resignation. He was a solo artist for EMI.
Oh, I did read
Doug
that.
Howard took his place.
That's right.
So then when Chasm came back in, that's why there's so many songs where he and Todd are singing at the same time. I don't know if they less liked it, and they said, well, sing on this. Here's what you're going to sing. And he had all the other vocals. But yeah, it was kind of a tense time there for a little while when he came back. But what a great tour that was. That was a really good tour with this, call it the Suits tour, I guess. Anyway, that's number 8. You may be surprised here with my number 8. But my number 8, I'm going to go back, and I'm talking about Utopia, Another Live. This is my number 8. There is an alternate cover. Look, man, am I going to say I don't like the Seven Rays? I'm not. I don't like the Wheel. Well, the Wheel's a little bit, but Another Life, do you? Just One Victory. It's kind of the second side is kind of like a sort of a hits thing after the Mr. Triscuits thing. I love Mr. Triscuits. I love Something's Coming. But there's something about this. And, if you really know the tour that this came from, there's a whole other bunch of songs like Baseball and things that they never put on here, and some of Moogie stuff that started off. And so this is really the last one with the big band, Kevin Elman, or not Kevin Elman. Kevin Elman was gone by then. This is Willie's first one in, but Roger Powell replaced M. Frog, Siegler, Shuckett, and Klingman. And, this is the last one. It really represented the most collective thing. These were some long-ish shows with this from. Another Live, number 8 from 1975. My number 8.
Okay, so I'm on number 7. My number 7 is the one Tony's already brought up, Swing to the Right. I write things. Yeah, I did like Love of Money. And Liz Estrada too. I always loved it when Todd would write a song, make me go look to the dictionary, look something up. And I actually like Swing to the Right, but my number 1 song this definitely was One World. I just really like that catchy, punchy song. And plus, I can learn how to play.
Yeah, simple one to play for us.
Which is not many in Todd, but not number 7, Swing to the Right.
And the One World, of course, there's an alternate. Everybody knows there's an alternate version. The hardcores know there's an alternate version on Deface the Music demos, which he recorded then. Words slightly changed when they reworked it for Swing to the Right. I'm talking about the demo. I'm sorry, for the demos for the Beatles record, the Deface the Music. What I was going to say. And while I'm talking about that, it's time for my number 7 here. And my number 7 might surprise some people. It was a great tour. I loved the shit out of it. I thought it was fantastic. Adventures in Utopia. And the main reason for this is maybe the inconsistency of the tracks. They did a lot of different feeling here with this. You've got the whole polyester King Willie and the androgynous and they androgynous, what they called Roger. I don't know why it had anything to do with it, with that. But anyway, Todd and his punk thing, and it had this. And the TV show, they were fake TV show. They wrote it for, and they were hoped that it came in later. Some great songs. Last of the New Wave Riders, of course. Shot in the Dark. Caravan became something for a long time staple. Set Me Free's kind of pop. I wasn't crazy about it. The Road to Utopia was a big part of the reunion thing. It was going. So this has a great top to bottom. If you think about consistent tracks, it may be there. But I think the pop nature of it, like Love Alone and Rock Love especially, Very Last Times kind of sounds like More Than a Feeling. I like it. And I think it was a great pitch for them to become very popular, but it never but they never. As soon as that was done, then the Todd made the next move, and it wasn't exactly in the commercial vein. That's my number 7, 1980s breakthrough, Adventures in Utopia.
My number 6, I think this came out in '82. It's Deface the Music.
Deface the Music, 81. Yep.
Yeah, 81. Okay, and that was
80, like late 80.
Okay,
Yeah, the second one in 80.
And this is known as their Beatles album on that. And the song that really did on me, I mean, they had "Touch You," and I saw this tour. That's a tour when they did the uniforms and all. That's great in Columbus. Yeah. But my favorite song was just because of the guitar was "Take It Home." That was supposed to be like based on Day Tripper, but I mean, it's just got some killer guitar on it. That was.
They had some really
number 6 is Deface the Music.
Yeah, that's they had some great, and you know what? Keep it right up there, Joe. That's going to be number 6 as well. Deface the Music, number 6. I like Feel Too Good, of course. I don't like Always Late. Everybody else is wrong is kind of laborist, sort of. I'm the walrus type of a thing, but their versions of Hoi Polloi is great. Feel Too Good is great. I think he did a great job. Take It Home, like you say, with that great the rip, just so cool. They really did it well. I know a lot of people, and I'll say this. I've said this before, and I'll cut it short. But there was a period of time when this was a catalog record, and I took it upon myself when this was released on CD to order a ridiculous amount of catalog, and I played it, and I blew those things out of Rockville West. People would buy them. They go, "What is this? What is this? What is this?" I mean, everybody loves that Beatles sound, and they love that record. And that record, I think, could it have been pushed a little more by Warner Brothers, it might have really had a lot more commercial success, because I've hardly ever heard anybody that is a musician or anything that doesn't like it.
I think I read where "Take It Home" was actually it was up to be played in a movie soundtrack. And then it was disqualified because they thought it sounded too much like
Roadie, the one they did with Alice Cooper.
Yeah,
the thing that came out at the same time. That they did a couple songs on that too. That was produced by Todd. Those Alice Cooper things. That was when he was in the alcohol phase, Flush the Fashion and all that stuff. Zipper Catches Skin. Anyway, that's my number 6, Deface the Music. On to number 5.
Okay, my number 5 is "Oops, Wrong Planet." I think this came out in '77. Did it? 77, the year I graduated high school. I just remember this was the second album after I got into Todd. I got into him late in Utopia, but Love in Action, Trapped, Back on the Street, Love's the Answer. I mean, it's
the blueprint for the next long period of time.
Yeah, man. But "Oops, Wrong Planet," and it came. I mean, they were dropping albums quick back then. I remember I just got Raw, and it seemed like I had it very long when "Oops" came out.
Look at those. Those black and white pictures were shocking on the back after you get the rock star thing, and then you get these totally unretouched photos, warts and all of these guys in black and white. It was crazy. They did come back. I think the Newtopia came back. They called it Newtopia when they tried to play some stuff along this theme. I think when Prairie took Willie's place, and they tried to do it when they had the 3 before. Yeah, man, great record. That's your number 5.
Yep.
My number 5, I'm going to dip back. I have a little higher opinion of it than you do. For 1983 is Oblivion. Oblivion I like way better than POV. Why do I like it better than POV? I don't know. It is dated somewhat, some of the songs, but I like Welcome to My Revolution a lot. I love the song I Will Wait, the ballad that Chasm sang at the end of that. Maybe I Could Change Too, which is a great song on here with Chasm singing. But everybody knows that the version is the piano version, the bootleg version in '83 when Todd's in, like, I forget, Omaha or somewhere in the middle of the country. And he's playing a version at the end. He's going, "We can change the world." He does all this at the end of it. I mean, it's stunning because nobody had ever heard it before. And it's just in a raw form and a beautiful, kind of like the way I said I love the ballad because it's really plain and it plainly lays out the notes. That's what I'm saying. That's my number 5. Oblivion, 1983.
Okay, my number 4, coming out in '75, and I liked it a lot more than Tony obviously did, is "Another Live." And I liked it specifically because it was like a greatest hits, coming out. And it's first time, "The Wheel," which is one of my favorite Todd Utopia songs, Todd or Utopia, and "Seven Rays." And then I just love that type of rock out, do ya, garage rock sound song. Another easy one, that I could learn to play. And then, of course, "Just One Victory," which ended up, just played with somewhere else, but that was the first where I heard it. But yeah, I like Another Live a lot. That's my number 4.
Yeah, I must admit I probably downed this a little bit much being number 8. It's hard to say. It's really hard for me to compare the work of the first band, the
Yeah.
big band, to the later pop band, because like you said before, it's kind of two different bands. You had the prog rock band, and then you've got kind of a pop band here at the end of this. So that was your number 4.
Yep.
My number 4, we're gonna go to bum ba 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 ba. Raw, 1976. Jay told the story, I think, before of him with the fruit. He tried the fruit experiment with
Yeah, and it came with its
the thing. Yeah, it was a
pyramid.
whole trip. The whole live show, man,
That was my
such
first
a
show
big
I
thing.
saw.
Oh man, it was great. I remember being down there. That was great. We saw it at Meriwether Post.
Yeah.
It was incredible. I mean, with the pyramid and everything, and
Oh,
the whole thing. Yeah.
Dropped forward off the pyramid.
Yeah, we're not crazy, and we both admit at this point, singering's kind of silly. It's a long thing and it's kind of silly, but at the time it fit what the prog rock thing that was going on in the Genesis and the Gentle Giant and all this stuff. So anyway, that's my number 4, 1976 rock.
Okay, my number, I guess we're all the way up to my number 3. And this one, another I rated higher. Adventures in Utopia. That's, a lot of times I like an album if I went to the tour. I remember this tour just knocked me away. And this album actually had some of my friends that had never listened to Todd before they actually bought this album. It was the one coming out. But like Rock Love, I used to not like that song until I recently saw it, played in concert live again. And, that is great. But my favorite songs on that was Caravan. I just love the vibe of that. And Last of the New Wave Riders. But I do agree with Tony. It was not a cohesive album. It jumped around. And I thought if they just stuck with like either everything like Caravan or everything like Rock Love, it might have played at least on each side of the torn. But a lot of Utopia albums were that for me. I was never a big, the Chasm ballad song I'd always skip over.
Yeah, they really tried to be everything on
Yeah.
this album. They really tried to hit all the spots.
Like what's going to stick.
Yeah.
But it's still
was
a good one.
Oh, it's a huge one. It's a big one. Very, very good, man. That's very good. And that's your number 3.
Yep.
Well, my number 3 is going to bolster up a little bit about the other one that you talked about before, and that's going to be the Network album, the 1982 Network album. I think it was a strong comeback. I see it as kind of the redeeming coming back after the band was pissed off about the face of the music, which they kind of felt like Todd had derailed their progress that they built up during some of the other ones. And when this record came out, right after they lost their contract with Bearsville, they got signed to this new label with Al Corey. Then it ends up going bankrupt right about the same time. This was happening. I mean, the Hammer in My Heart, you heard on FM radio, you heard a lot of these songs. I think this album was poised to do better. And if you saw the Live Country Club Reseda show in 1982 is a great, the video, An Evening with Utopia is a great representation of it. Like I said before, I think the songs were really poppy, were really strong. And anyway, that's my number 3, 1982 Utopia. Probably the highest, to me, probably the last best chance at them getting the recognition they deserved, and it just kind of fell through for them. At number 3, Utopia, 82, otherwise known as a Network record.
Okay, my number 2 is Raw, and this is actually the very first Todd Rundgren Utopia anything of his I'd ever bought. I was sitting beside Tony in physics in 9th grade, and I remember I bought it, and I was just so into reading everything about it, the Eastern, and like I said, they had a pyramid you could cut out and tape it up so it's shaped like a pyramid. And I remember getting out my compass because it had to be pointed just a certain way. And if you put a slice of apple under it, that the rays from the pyramid would keep it from aging. And I convinced myself the apple did not rot for a while, but anything. But my favorite song there is Overture. I just love that. That's almost like reminds me of early Utopia. Like it was just smashing in. And then, like I said, I saw the tour, which always influences the album. But I also liked Sunburst Finish.
Oh, I love it. I was going to mention it.
It's the way, that's just a great song.
And the backmasking part of Eternal Love, too, when they do those vocals, when they fight back, when it goes back in.
And I like Jealousy. But actually, another song people never mention, I really like Hiroshima.
Oh, me too.
I got chills from it, about,
for the
dropping the
redo.
atomic bomb.
Yeah.
Especially when they did the little voice in America, that was actually the actual recording, I guess, we played.
Yeah, that 92 reunion version, too, they played in Japan, that redo record. That was crushed. That crushed. Because that's in Japan, they played it. It was intense, man.
But now number 2 is Raw.
Wonderful. All right, man. Well, that's a hard one to beat here. Number two for me is one that you hit before, and the reason why I'm saying it is it became the staple of the songs they played forever. Trapped, Windows, Love and Action, Back on the Street, Abandoned City. Love is the Answer, especially, man. I mean, Abandoned City, one of Roger's songs that he sang. The Martyr, Chasm song. Gangrene was one that Willie used to sing. When they would switch instruments, Willie would play bass, Todd would play drums. Yeah, but I mean, God, Crazy Lady Blue came back live later as a different version. But I think this is an underrated record, and this is one that really set the course. I can't imagine that this arriving at this position came without some because they'd gotten Chasm in the band, and they continued with the prog rock thing, and so this was an abrupt change, and I can't even imagine. There's some of it in the books about it, but I can't imagine going through. What a different representation on this record than it was. That it was meant to be punk. It was meant to be influenced by punk. I guess it's stripped down to 3-minute songs. Not exactly punk, but
yeah.
But Utopia becoming a nice little utility 4-piece kit that kick anybody's ass in the 80s live. And that's number two, Oops, Wrong Planet from 1977. I remember laying in front of my dad's stereo, listening to them play it on DC 101 before it had actually been out. So
They always had DC 101 every Saturday at midnight. They would play an album just was released. I remember I heard Neil Young that way.
Yeah.
And the only ways we drove to the top of the mountain because you could get it on the stereo.
Yeah, they liked Todd. They always had 101. Always had the live shows from the Bayou broadcast, and then they always would play his records. I heard Adventures like that too at the time. That's my number two. Okay, we're ready for the number one.
I have a feeling we both got the same number one, but my number one is Todd Rundgren's Utopia. From the beginning, I mean, come on. It's Utopia, theme from Utopia. But one song I really love on this, of course, the Icon. It's the Icon. This was a headphone album, one of my first ones, but Freak Parade. I love Freak Parade, all the little sounds in it, and your headphones, the way it goes. But, yep, my number one, Todd Rundgren's Utopia. And like I said, I'm going to let Tony talk because that's his number one.
It is, man, and I love it. It's a different band it started off with. It actually, Utopia, the song was actually written by Dave Mason in the very first Utopia band, the one with M. Frog and the two Sales brothers that ended up failing before any of this. But that song was left over from that. But then Freak Parade, Freedom Fighters, there's not a bad record on it.
And these shows, I said, when they toured this, I heard they were like 3 hours long.
They played these songs forever, and they went on a long time, and it developed. The Icon developed over time through pieces. When they first started playing it, they played just a little bit of like the little country show, dun, 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 dun. That was part of it, and then the part that Ralph, my good friend, unfortunately, love him to death, Ralph Garcia, covered on the Todd record that we did covers on. He did a version of "So You Never Have to Be Afraid. Never fear, for you are living in eternal mind." He played that, a fabulous version of it. And so that's my favorite part of the whole thing. I love this when they played together and got back on the Moogie Klingman thing. I was a little bit critical of it at first because it was sloppy, but at the same time, to be able to just pick this up and ride on this horse like that really shows what kind of musician it is. Same way it showed when Todd got back for the reunion. I mean, him being the only guitar player there, it was beyond belief.
And this came out in 73. Right?
Yep, 1973.
That's what I said. My first album was Raw. When I think in the 9th grade. And then, the way it happened back in the 70s, like, wow, Raw, let me check this guy out. Excuse me. So, within short order, I had to buy every album before that, Utopia. And then it's like they kept getting cooler. Oh, my God, you put this one with the and like back then, too, album covers meant a lot for me. If the album cover sucked, you're going to have some good damn music on there. I would actually I bought it because of the cover.
That's right.
But,
well, you guys, that's his number one. It's my number one. Tell me what your number one is, everybody. Hit the like button for us. I should have said that at the beginning for you to punch out. It doesn't cost anything. It helps us out a lot. Hit the like button. Please subscribe here, and we will be back at you shortly, counting down the Utopia songs for the next part of this. So we will catch you guys next time, and
peace out.
Peace.
Love is the answer.
Yeah, it is.
I got a friend in California. They get the crew, we're gonna join him.